Rick Haynes, Superintendent.
Dave Larson, Assistant Superintendent.
Kurt South, Business Coordinator.
Kim Piper, Director of Student Services.
Eric Heinreich, Director of Technology.
Dave Shellhouse, Curriculum Director.
Dwayne Thompson, Director of Curriculum and Instruction.
Hello, this is Piqua City School Leadership Report for February 2015. I'm Rick Haynes, and along with all the cabinet members here at Piqua City Schools. And folks, first of all, it's been a typical weather for January and February here in Ohio. And Kurt and Dave and I are out running roads at 4:35 in the morning and looking at conditions to make sure they're safe. Just a reminder for all of our students, parents, and community members that we do broadcast out whether or not we're going to be open, delayed, or closed on our local TV stations, also with One Call Now. Also, we have it on the Twitter, and also we have it through our local radio stations. And so we watch very carefully, and we all three are out driving roads to make sure that the roads are safe for passage for our buses, also for our student drivers. We also check the parking lots, and we check the sidewalks to make sure that we can come and go to school. But also just a reminder that we do live in Ohio, and the weather in Ohio, we need to make sure that we are prepped and ready for driving, for walking to school, making sure that we are dressed appropriately for the bus stops, and also once we get to school for recess. And so we work with all of our students and parents and community members to make sure aware of that. For our community, just a reminder that if we are on a 2-hour delay, keep in mind that the buses are going at different times, and so you might come around a corner and see a bus that is stopped with its flashers on, and we want to make sure that you're prepared for that. So that's one reason we try to broadcast as much as possible. Dave, Kurt, any comments? We've been up a lot, it seems like, in January and February. Actually, it started back in November this year with a snow day, but any comments?
Just a thanks to our maintenance staff that's also up even before us a lot of times, cleaning the sidewalks and parking lots, and they go to all the buildings. They're in constant radio communication, and they do a nice job of fighting Mother Nature.
I think the same goes to the city and the townships for their efforts in getting the roads ready to drive. And that a lot of days we've had 2-hour delays where some other districts have closed, and that's a testament to the efforts of a lot of people, including those folks and our bus drivers. The fact that we know our drivers know how to drive in winter weather and be safe, and we always want to remind parents. I mean, if you're ever in a situation where you are uncomfortable about sending your child to school because of that, then you should notify the school office. If your child is driving or something like that and you don't feel comfortable, we don't want anyone to be in an unsafe situation. And obviously we want kids to be in school and learn, safety first, but learning is a very close second. So if parents are in a situation where they have concerns about that, we encourage that dialogue and conversation.
And also just, again, a huge thank you to the folks who work with us on making sure that we do have a safe environment. And a reminder that Piqua City Schools is operating on a calendar composed of days. There's a lot of word out there about different school districts being on days or being on hours. We're on days. We have used 5 of our snow days as of this taping, which is early in February. We also have 2 additional days built into our calendar. So at this point, we are not looking at any makeup days or using any other type of methods to make up days. So again, we appreciate all the heads up and working with everyone. If we continue to get some additional ice or snow, we'll work through it, and we thank everyone for working with us. Moving over to the weather, I know, Kurt, we're going to stick with you a little bit. The weather really isn't affecting the construction project this year because we're closed in at the 456 building, and you want to share a little bit about the activities going on there.
That's exactly right. We worked very hard in the last summer and last fall after last winter to get the building enclosed with windows in and excuse me, doors installed, and the roof is on. So the contractors are able to work inside in 50-degree weather, sometimes even warmer, depending on how close you get to the temporary heater. But they are painting walls and installing cabinets and installing all of the items that go above the ceiling, and that's the next milestone that we're due. Different areas of the building have a final inspection before they put the ceilings in. And so we're on track, on budget, on schedule to be finished for start of school in August. And as soon as the weather breaks, we'll start to see some site work going on, parking lots and the bus lot being installed in the March-April timeframe.
Great. And I know kind of a inside joke that we talk about is the fact that we are building a wireless building, but if you look at the miles and miles of wire that we actually have to run within the building, you want to share a little bit about the technology things that are going in?
Sure. The building is wireless, so all of the students and staff members wireless devices that they have to use for the educational process is going in, but in order to do that, all of those wires that you mentioned are above ceiling or in the walls or in the various technology cabinets that we have. So yeah, there's a separate contractor that just runs cabling, and they have several employees that work a full day every day for several weeks to get all of that installed.
Great. And when we talk about wires, Eric Heidenreich, our tech coordinator, I know one thing this time of the year you're looking at E-Rate, which is a federal program. You want to share what your work is with that program?
Well, a lot of the resources that we use across the district, whether it be our instructional program, and the fact that we have state testing coming, this year we're going to be providing even additional technology that's going to be in the hands of our students. All that requires bandwidth. And the way we fund that bandwidth here at Piqua is through a federal E-Rate grant program. And we have our application out for our internet activity and our connectivity between our buildings. And we're going to be asking for additional bandwidth this year to support some of these additional requirements. In addition to the internet access and the connectivity, we're also looking at a network upgrade at our junior high and our high school. The construction process, our project has provided a great, strong network for both our primary buildings and our soon-to-be finished intermediate building. This process will help us do the same thing at those two buildings.
Okay, great. And E-Rate has changed a little bit. You want to talk about a little bit about some of the things that aren't funded anymore in the upcoming E-Rate program.
There's basically two significant changes. There's two parts to E-Rate. There's what's called Category 1, which is like your internet access and your connectivity. Those type of services, stuff in the past that we would potentially be funded for, like our voice over IP, the phone type of systems, those are being phased out at this time. And one thing that we're gaining from our project is a brand new phone system, so that's not going to affect Piqua directly. But another significant change of the project of our E-Rate is on the Category 2 side. The federal government has set aside a significant amount of money to fund these Category 2 requests, and that's why we're looking at the network upgrades this time for the junior high and high school, is because they have allocated a set amount of money. Piqua has a very good opportunity to basically get funded for those.
So a lot of work on your part and your team's part, and also working with the treasurer myself on looking at the budget, looking at what needs to be done in the next 3 to 5 years, and look very carefully at filling out that application so we do secure those funds. So I appreciate your work on that. E-Rate funding is one that's very critical for us in order to do the technology that we do. I know we had Kim arrange for an educational consultant to come in the other day and work with us on some of our gaps with reading and potential gaps for math. And we ended up with a compliment about the fact that we are moving ahead very aggressively with testing online. And that consultant praised our district for making that decision and also praised what she felt was we are lined up well. You want to share a little bit about what you've done with making sure that we are ready for the standardized testing that we're doing, and we're doing it online, and what you've done behind the scenes to make sure that's ready to go.
Well, the core assessment team is actually sitting here at this table, but we've also, that's been expanded to include building level personnel, principals, other building personnel has been brought in over the past few weeks. We've started working with our teachers, and this past January we got to participate in what they call an infrastructure trial, and that's where we get to simulate kind of test day activities and all the work that we did in the back end, you know, preparing our instructional devices, thousands of them, the back end work on preparing or installing the caching servers that will cache the testing content locally. Some of the stuff we've done to our core network so that Piqua has an advantage that other districts don't have is we do have 2 internet paths, if you will, and we've designed them so that if one would fail, that we could fail over to the other one so that we could continue testing. So all that stuff, those resources were basically utilized. Our staff did a tremendous job in preparing our students, and the fact that our students get the opportunity to look at the new state testing software was amazing to see. And you know, did everything go perfectly? No, but what we got to do, we got to experience it, learn, adapt, make changes, and as we keep doing this, we get better and better.
Yeah, and so we have the tech side ready for our students ready to go, but when we approach testing at Piqua City Schools, and Eric mentioned this whole group has been involved with that and working with our students, working with our staff and planning, but the critical thing is making sure that we're not just prepping for one test. We are looking at making sure that no matter what our students sit down for, be it a state test, be it an occupational test that they're taking when they're going for a job, be it the ACT test for college admittance, making sure that no matter what they sit down for, that they are prepared as much as possible. And I'll yield over to this side. Do you all want to share a little bit about some of the work that continues going on? You know, Dave, with math, we introduced a math program at the beginning of the school year because we saw some gaps in our math. And I know you've been working now for quite a few months on making sure there's resources available, professional development training for our teachers. Share some of the work that you've been doing.
Yeah, we continue to support the teachers in both professional development opportunities in terms of sharing resources with them. We have had the opportunity to have some online video professional development sessions where the teachers can watch them on demand, which kind of helps with the whole aspect of trying to, you know, schedule days out of the classroom. So that, I think, is a positive. We continue to try to keep our resource websites up to date. That includes the parent website for the parent side to help their students.
And you want to remind parents where they can find that at?
Yeah, you can go to the home page, and it's under tools, I believe, and students and parents, I believe, and then Eureka Help on the drop down, and that will get you to where those resources are at for you and your child. But it was really neat. We were, like Eric was talking about, the practice assessments that we were doing. It was kind of neat to kind of circulate around as kids were taking the math test, and I actually saw Eureka strategies being used on their scratch paper.
Good.
You know, they were making arrays of things and multiplying that way, and it was really neat to see some of that actually being applied to solving these problems on these assessments, because like you said, our goal is just to get kids to have number sense and have mathematics skills. It doesn't matter what test we put in front of them. Mm-hmm. And I think that was a testament to the program. We realize there's still challenges to it. We realize that parents are still probably struggling out there with the level of rigor. But we've heard some teachers say some positive things. You know, one of the teachers said something to Dwayne the other day about, they actually said, we're seeing this thing work. We're actually seeing students increase their understanding of math, and that's our ultimate goal. And it's just going to take some time. We're not going to get there overnight, but I think we're on the right track.
Well, I think a critical thing with the math program we've been talking about, I think all of us were shocked when we started this new math program, but I think the shock goes along with the fact that we should be shocked because we had a significant gap in our math performance with our students. And so the thing that we're starting to hear, as you said, we're hearing teachers starting to say, I'm not going to say they're saying it's easier, they're just saying that they're seeing their students now actually have a good grasp and understanding on some of the math principles, that it's no longer just rotely memorizing and doing things, it's understanding the background behind it. I think one of the compliments I heard, and I don't even know if I shared this with you, I was at a meeting and a parent was sharing with me that her son came home from college over break for Christmas and he was home before we were out, and saw his younger sister, who was an intermediate student, basically doing some of the new math that we have, and he was impressed with it because he said that will help her to understand what she needs to do later on in math. And that's neat to hear when we have one of our former students who's now in college recognizing that what we're putting in place is really going to benefit her long term. And so those are the things we're hearing. As you said, we appreciate the patience out there with our teaching staff, with our students, and with the parents. And also I appreciate Dave has done a lot of work behind the scenes making videos available. And I've heard a lot about those videos also. Parents are using those. And again, if you go to our website and look under tools for parents and students, you can find those videos that go along with concepts. The other thing I encourage is making sure that if your child gets stuck and you feel like you can't help them, you can help them by asking questions. Ask questions about what has your teacher worked with you on that possibly could help you with this particular math problem. And so there's a lot that can happen there, and again, good things going on. We want to continue supporting our students, our teachers, and our parents out there. If you have questions, concerns, please continue to give those questions back to us. Your child's teacher or Dave also is available to help out and keep providing that input, because we're basing a lot of the support on what we're hearing from our teaching staff, students, and parents. And so please continue to provide that. But we're starting to see a difference, which is good. That's what we want to hear. So, and along with math, the two biggies is what I want to hit today. Reading. Dwayne, you've been doing the same thing with reading that Dave has been doing with math. You want to share a little bit about that?
Sure, and writing too. I got to throw writing in
Thank
there.
you.
Writing is changed a lot. It's not the same as what it used to be. We used to do like a research paper that we would fill out index cards, and we would organize it, and we would do all this great big process over a month time. Now, what students are doing is they're putting research simulations together within one setting. It's easier to get on a computer and type things and cut and paste and move, and the standards are asking kids to do that because it's really what they do in real life. So that's a little bit different than what we used to do. It's processing and thinking a lot differently. It's not so much just making up stories. We still have kind of narrative writing, but it's more looking at writing with a story. So students will use an anchor text, they'll read it, whether it's excuse me, informational or whether it's fiction, and then they'll extend some of the writing, or they'll talk about why the author did certain things within the writing. So those are some different things that maybe we didn't experience when we were younger that teachers are working on right now with their students. And just learning to type and cut and paste and use all the tools, because that is how they'll be tested, but that's also the real life scenarios. So writing has changed in that way, and we're really trying to make that shift to help students make that change.
And suggestions, I'm always looking for making sure that we are providing some feedback and also input for parents, especially early on with our preschool, our kindergartners through 6th grade. What should parents be doing this time of the year to make sure they're reinforcing reading and writing?
Well, with reading particularly, practice. We spend a lot of time on the instructional process in the school setting, showing them how to make letter blends and how to sound things out, and how to practice being a fluid reader so that they can kind of put tone into the story and make the characters come to life, because all those things really increase your comprehension. And then they focus a lot on comprehension. But if there's one weakness I think that we always notice, it's vocabulary. And really, there's no better way to build vocabulary than to practice reading. And our teachers are really creative at using time during the day to get students to read. But parents can really help by providing that time at home. I know at our house, we have 3 kids. One gets to read on the way home from school. We have one that reads while we're getting supper ready, and then we always have reading time at bedtime. We kind of divide it up, and we provide different opportunities for our own children to just read out loud.
Can I make a suggestion too? A lot of times when we once our kids are readers, we kind of forget that should still be part of our home activities. And one of the things that families can do is have time. If your child is an independent reader, have time in the evenings where everybody reads.
Yes.
Where it may be mom or dad reading a newspaper, maybe somebody's reading a novel, but everybody is sitting down and they're just reading. And maybe that's a half an hour, but that demonstrates to the child the importance of continuing to do that. And then, like you said, from the vocabulary piece, it gives the child sometimes an opportunity to read something that is not prescribed or assigned to them, and it sets a culture of learning in the home.
It could be anything. My dad loves reading the comics with my own kids, and they love that time of the day when he gets a newspaper out and they take turns reading. And it's unbelievable the amount of vocabulary and just the analogies to life and things that a comic strip will teach the kids. And my dad just loves that time, so it's a great opportunity. My kids love reading at nighttime before bedtime. It's a good calming effect. But they love reading while we're just, like I said, getting supper ready. One will pick up a book and they'll be reading out loud, and it helps us pass time in the car. It really gives them a chance to hear vocabulary, and lots of words come up that they don't know. So that gives us a chance to kind of challenge them with their thinking. And looking up a word in the dictionary is one thing, but finding that word in context and making meaning out of it within the story really helps it stick, and that builds a vocabulary for a student. So when they come across harder material later on, it makes it easier for them to kind of figure things out and make meaning of stories. It's a real key thing, and it can be anywhere from 10 minutes to a half an hour. It doesn't have to be big lengths of time, but I would encourage too technology. More and more our kids, of course, are on their technology. I saw one of the teachers practicing the test, and she was asking her students at the end, what were some of the challenges you faced? And she was thinking maybe the manipulation of the tools, but the student said, my eyes kind of got tired. I got tired of looking at the screen, and she said I was having a hard time seeing, and she was kind of tilting her head back. So she needed more practice with that, and parents should be aware of, glasses and those kinds of things. But more and more we're using the computers to read, and that's a good way to practice too. There's tons and tons of websites with stories and text on it that kids can engage with.
And I think a critical thing that I'm hearing here is a love for reading naturally and making sure that you're not forcing it. We can't force it as educators. You can't force it as parents or community members. It has to be modeling, enjoying, just like with math when I suggested making sure you're asking great questions. The same thing with reading. You probably haven't read some of the books that your child's reading, but you can look at the title and ask them, describe what is going on in that book right now. Who's the main characters? What's the setting? What's the main theme of that book? Asking those critical questions and engaging with your child in a natural, good communication, because if they can talk about it, they can write about it. If they can talk about it, read about it, write about it, then that helps with comprehension, it helps with vocabulary, and it's critical that we pull all those things together so that they can have good discussions back and forth with their parents. It's also fun to hear about what your kids are reading. At my house, you talked about your house, Dwayne, my house with an 18-year-old, a 17-year-old, an 11-year-old, we have different genres of books, different things that we're listening to and asking questions about, and it's fun to engage in those conversations, and important for us to do that. So those are things to keep in mind when we're working with reinforcing what's happening at school.
I think we would be remiss, though, if we didn't address parents who may have students who are struggling with reading, and not to be overwhelmed by that. If your child comes home and they've got a reading material that they need to practice, that's because we've sent that home because they can practice that. So if they start to struggle with that, don't hesitate to help them. Read it to them. Maybe read it to them 2 or 3 times, and then say, or rotate back a sentence or a word. or have them describe the pictures to you, or like you said, identify who the characters are. What are the characters doing after you've read it? So we do recognize that not all children are going to be able to just pick up a book and just read whatever material is in front of them, or being able to engage, or even have a good sense about that. You know, there might be some of your children who are coming home and saying, I don't want to read, I don't like to read. And so that's even more the reason to have that become a part of your family time, have that become part of your culture, of the culture of your home, because that's what we're certainly trying to do here at school. So, you know, and if it's listening to even talk radio, or, you know, lots of times different TV stations or things like that will highlight authors, will highlight different books, or if there's a TV program that your child likes to watch. There are lots of books that are generated around those types of television programs. You could go to the library with a specific purpose of trying to check those texts out and then talk about that, because any experience prior to reading the book that they bring to the book will help them with decoding the words and talking about the main characters and understanding what's going to happen on that particular adventure or throughout that text. So we do recognize that there are some challenges out there, and we are all here to help you. So if you have questions about, hey, I noticed my child is doing this or that, or they've been verbalizing this about that, please contact your child's teacher. Please engage in conversation with them about that, those difficulties. And your principals, any of the staff really here at Piqua City Schools would love to talk to you about that, because that's what we're here for. That's our purpose.
I think another key to the whole interest level is finding those books that interest the student. You know, I look at my own son, you know, and boys, you know, I don't want to stereotype it, but girls usually enjoy reading. But sometimes boys just don't find it as. But the books they do find enjoyable are the nonfiction books, the books about bugs, the books about worms, or the books about things. And that's what we want students reading. We don't care what the content is, and actually the new standards, we want more nonfiction engagement. So I think you have to find what your child is interested in, and then find books that they want to read. Because, you know, if reading is not something that they enjoy initially, it might be because they're being forced to read books that they may not actually have an interest in. And I've lived that in my own household. And once you get the books that they really enjoy and they can find engaging, they'll read. And that's where I think it's important that parents keep that in mind.
I think another great strategy that parents can use is when a student's either struggling with reading or trying to get through, is to take turns reading pages. Let the child read a page and then you read a page. And it provides great modeling. It keeps the story flow going. And it kind of gives the kid a break every now and then, so you kind of go back and forth. And thinking on what you were saying, the Piqua Public Library, a great team of people there who know very well how to help students find books on their interest and at their appropriate level, that just right book that a kid can get in their hands and really practice, so it's not too hard or even not too easy. So don't want to forget about using that resource too.
The other thing is think about with practical, everyday life skills, what you can do to help incorporate math, writing, reading into life skills. And we've talked before about when you're cooking at home, using measurements, have your child do those things. Some other things, if you're looking at ordering pizza, have them look up the telephone number, look for menus. They can do that on the internet. They also can look for telephone numbers in the phone book. If you want to go to a movie, have them look up basically at the cinema, what are the times, what are the titles, and start looking for information, because that helps blend those practical skills and also some of the nonfiction things that they need to be able to read. And it helps with life skills. And it also helps parents from the standpoint that your kids can help you out in those things. If you're buying something new and it needs put together, have them get those directions out and work with you on that. And so those are some of the fun things that can happen that helps to enhance reading skills, writing skills, and a conversation back and forth between child and parent is so important. And asking those great questions, having them ask you questions. I'm a believer in kids can never ask too many questions. You might not always have the answer. Most of the time we don't, but there are places that you can have them look for the answers for those. And so great practical skills and things that can help out tremendously in reinforcing what we're doing here at school. This time of year, another thing is going on. We are in the middle, or a little bit past the middle of this school year, but we're also looking at prepping for the 2015-2016 school year. And I know Kim and Loretta Henderson and some other people and myself have been working on our registration for kindergarten. And we are happy to announce a whole new kindergarten registration process that we've been working on, and we're rolling out here at the beginning of February, and it's called Countdown to Kindergarten. And Kim, you want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. The process is different this year. So some of you in the past who have had students who are or currently enrolled or previously enrolled in Piqua City Schools would have gone entirely to completed the entire process through the Nicklin Learning Center. And this year, we're asking that you start the process at our board office. All of the registration paperwork that you've previously completed when you've come in for either you've picked up at kickoff or you've been provided the paperwork when you brought your child for screening is now located at the board office. So we're trying to streamline things a little bit with the central registration, and this is the actual kindergarten packet. And there are steps that we want you to take. This countdown to kickoff to kindergarten is starting at our BOE. The paperwork you can pick up, there's instructions on the form about what to complete when, and all of the dates of that you need to be aware of so that you can get your child enrolled and off to a tremendous start here at Piqua City Schools.
And with kindergarten, Countdown to Kindergarten, basically, as Kim said, forms can be picked up at the board office, but also if you just call my office, basically we will mail one to you. If you want to email me, and I know I have been receiving quite a few emails and also telephone calls that we're putting the packets in the mail, and then people are bringing them back to the board office for completing the paperwork. But we are open for registration for 2015-2016 kindergarten. It's an exciting time for kindergarten parents from the standpoint of your child is entering a wonderful phase and a wonderful environment here at Piqua City Schools, and we're looking very forward to getting to know your child. For first-time parents, getting to know you, welcoming you to Piqua City Schools, and making sure that we are setting up a great experience. And that's one reason we're starting earlier this year, is just making sure that we have everything ready to go for when your child begins their experience here at Piqua City Schools. So registration is open. Again, if you contact the Board of Education office, 937-773-4321, or you're welcome to email us or just stop in at the front office at 719 East Ash Street here in Piqua, and we'll take care of getting all the information to you so you can register your child for kindergarten. Along with kindergarten, we're also working on the other end at the high school. We are basically looking at registration for classes for 2015-2016, and basically the course catalog is on our website for parents, and our guidance counselors have been in classrooms at the high school talking with our juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and 8th graders about high school, and here are the things that are offered. Once again, we have a phenomenal offering of courses. We've expanded courses again at the high school with courses added with STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math. Also courses added in the humanities. And so please take a good look at that course of studies or course catalog and work with your child on getting ready. The state of Ohio has set new standards for high school graduation that will affect the incoming freshman class, and basically the team that will be working on registration is very familiar with that, and as we learn more from the state, we'll continue working with our students and parents on that. So exciting times with registration. Also, at this time of the year, it's an exciting time for our seniors, because just like we have countdown to kindergarten, we also have countdown to graduation going on, and the ultimate is for our students to graduate with a great background, and they're leaving Piqua City Schools with a phenomenal background that's going to allow them to be successful. And so this time of the year is working with seniors on jobs, career, careers, military potential, and also with college, and looking at everything that we can do to send them out into the world with good background, but also with contacts and with applications filled out for jobs, careers, or the military. And that is in full swing at Piqua High School at this time. Some other things going on. I know Mr. Larson does a variety of things in his work as assistant superintendent. And Dave, you want to share a little bit about what you're working on?
Yeah, I do. The district is in the process of working with our collaborative leadership team on the Ohio Improvement Process. And the Ohio Improvement Process is a guided process with support from the state, support from the state support team. We have a couple of folks from the state support team who work with us to work with the district on continuous improvement, to work with the district on focusing our goals and efforts on improved student learning and consistent continuous improvement. We're very fortunate that we have a great district level collaborative leadership team. We had a meeting in early February to engage that group and continue the efforts in that process. And really, one of the purposes that we see from this process is to make sure we're focusing on what we're in the business to do, and we're in the business of educating kids. And there are a lot of other things out there that are instrumental to us being able to do that. But at the end of the day, it's about student instruction, student learning. And so one of the objectives of this process is that through collaborative leadership at a district level, we're able to model the activities and the focus to the building level. And there are building level collaborative leadership teams that take that work and make sure that it's happening at the building level. And then it drills down even further to what they call teacher-based teams. So the teacher-based teams have that same focus, that same a goal and objective that the district has. And really what we're hoping and what we're seeing from the early work in this is that we're able to narrow our focus as a district to more specific goals, more consistent strategies, so we don't have kind of shotgun approaches throughout the district on how we're going to solve a reading issue or math challenges, but that our approach to improving instruction and intervention and getting students to grow academically is consistent across the district. And we're seeing a lot of really positive things happening. It's going to be a multi-year process. This isn't a one-and-done type thing where we do this year and then next year everything's going to be great. It's an evolution. It's something that we're going to continue to do through OIP, the Ohio Improvement Process, but once we're done working with the state on the Ohio Improvement Process, this stuff doesn't go away. It's good practice in education. And again, I think it's really causing us to take a look at reminding ourselves that there's a lot of other things out there that we're going to do, but we all need to be extremely focused on student instruction and student learning, and then creating those consistent strategies of instruction, of assessment, of intervention is crucial to a child's success. And in the end, what we don't want to do is we don't want to go in and tell a teacher, this is how you teach. This is what you need to do, and have a sequential path of instruction in a specific course. What we want to do is create common themes and things that we hold true to as a district that everybody is going to commit to, leaving that discretion up to the teacher, because that's why we hire great professionals to teach. But that way, when a student goes from maybe third grade to fourth grade in math, there's consistent strategies and consistent assessments that the teachers can look at and build off of and focus on continued growth for our students. So it's an exciting process. Everybody here is involved in that process. We have great building level leadership. So really excited to see where this goes.
Great, and with that improvement, it goes along with every year we look at strategic planning and we look at updating what we are doing at Piqua City Schools, and Ohio Improvement Process is part of our strategic planning efforts that are going on. With that also, the thing I wanted to share is a transition. We have had two different mottos here at Piqua City Schools. One has been committed to excellence and the other one has been good schools, good value. And we are transitioning into a combination of those and coming up with a new motto that is basically Piqua City Schools where opportunity matters. And what we've been talking about today and what committed to excellence and what good schools, good value was all about was looking at how can we take the resources that we have available to Piqua City Schools for our students and make the best opportunities available so that when they do leave us, that they have a wonderful resume of skills and also potential that they can use later on in their lives. And where opportunity matters basically is stemming from the whole concept of providing those unique opportunities that make our students stand out when they're going for a job or when they're applying for college or when they're looking for a military position. And so you're going to see, we've been showing that new logo and new motto with it since December, and you'll see a continuation of that. And I wanted to end with all of us, I'm going to ask you to think about what are some of the opportunities that you see here at Piqua that is unique. And if you'll share those, and I'll start off with the participation, and I talk a lot about STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math. We have increased our STEM courses here in the last few years with robotics and with some other really unique offerings at our high school that other schools don't have. But this year we also added a course at our 8th grade level that basically is Introduction to STEM. And the unique opportunity for our students have been that the fact that every 8th grader in our junior high is experiencing a STEM level course, and it's an introduction, but it's giving them a very good opening to all the things that are available in science, technology, engineering, and math. And I'm extremely excited about that because we have a great instructor. We have